Hey y'all, welcome to the Moving with Millennials podcast with your favorite millennial realtors.
We are 4 top producing agents in the DFW area, and we are ready to share the good, bad, and the real life of real estate.
Whether you're thinking about getting into real estate, already an agent, or just curious about what your agent really does, join us.
Tune in every Wednesday to see what it's really like to be on this side of the transaction.
Welcome to another episode of Moving with Millennials. Today we are talking about... I forgot.
Oh my gosh, we were just talking about
Selling
it. I love it. This is
selling and buying on the other side, like as a real estate.
No, the topic is...
Oh, wait.
The topic is how realtors make the worst clients.
Oh, okay.
Like, literally, we're talking about how we hate to represent ourselves when it comes to buying or selling a house.
My ADHD is like off.
No, in all fairness, we have been talking about all the things in between.
And I'm on social media. Y'all don't know, I now have 3 different Instagrams that I'm logged into.
Why?
So, the Black Tie Dinner one, because I manage, all of our socials, which, I get like all the notifications now constantly. So I'm sorry, my brain is just
in a million places.
Yeah, it's great for someone with ADHD to be all the notifications.
I love it. We're going to talk about how we absolutely make the worst clients. Like we hate when it comes to we say this. We were chatting a little before this. When it comes to buying a house, like ourselves, like buying a house for ourselves and our families, I feel like it's not as bad, I guess. The process isn't as bad. Depending on the agent.
Yes.
There's certainly some agents that shouldn't be buying on their own. But selling your house on your own, it is tough. I've never personally done it, but as I'm like thinking about like how would I handle this, it would be so much easier to have another agent representing me. So
it's just like a neutral party.
Someone to remind you to take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
Just like we do for clients. We need that same thing.
For sure.
It is.
It's just a totally different, I don't know. It's definitely
let's
an
talk about
process.
So when it comes to buying, I feel like it's a lot easier just because, not saying like we just open doors to go look at houses. It is a lot easier because full disclosure, Brian and I are kind of tossing the idea of like buying and selling and all that right now. And so I went and looked at some houses, and here I'm being like the worst client already. I was joking with my friend. I'm like, I'm not even pre-qualified yet.
Yeah, I know.
But you know what? But I can go and look at houses because I'm showing myself, right? I'm not. Right. I'm wasting my own time, if you will.
Exactly.
So I did only look at a couple because I did feel bad for the sellers since they lived in the house. But I honestly could get pre-qualified that quickly and make an offer if I really wanted to, especially in this market. But it just seemed a lot easier for me to just handle it myself versus hiring another agent to do that.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I would never hire out on the buy side.
I don't think any of us would. We definitely know other agents that should, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, on the reverse, I definitely have had where I'm the listing agent and a buyer is also the buyer's agent, and so they're representing themselves. Worst transactions I've ever been through. Worst, because...
And she should not have...
Well, this one, I don't know if it was definitely a lot on the agent, but like her just lack of communication, how lazy she could kind of, I don't know. It's like because she didn't have a client that, you know what I mean, that she had to keep on top of, or because it was her transaction. It was almost like she was okay with giving herself poor service.
Which it makes it even worse that she's doing that.
Because if she had a client, and I would be livid if I was her client way she handled some of her business. But because she was her own client, it doesn't matter, right?
Other one I want to do the little
there we go.
For sure.
But
definitely depends on the agent. But when we bought, that was like the easiest transaction to date. Just because I was representing ourselves.
Yeah.
It's just
what I do. We have our own best interest in heart, which we should always with our clients.
Yeah. And there wasn't like you don't have to go back to the client, discuss, it's like, or advise. I was just telling Chris, okay, here's what we're doing.
Do you think when it came to negotiations, though, on the transaction, was because you are an agent, did it make it a little more difficult or like emotional?
It didn't, but also around the buy side?
Yes.
Yeah. We negotiated some things, but not repair. Like the inspection report was so clean. We didn't negotiate repairs. We didn't ask for anything. We didn't need to. But I negotiated a fridge in there, like ring stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say when we bought our house, I was a realtor, and we were in a multiple offer situation. At the time, we only went in, I think, like $5,000 over asking and got it, so it wasn't like this crazy market we just came out of. But I do remember being more willing to take like some risks because it was my money or my own versus if it was my client, I wouldn't have been wanting to take as much risk just because, you know, obviously it's your client. I do remember having that feeling of like, well, I'm going to do this and if we don't get it, like whatever. Yeah. But when you're dealing with your client, obviously they're a little more emotional probably than we are just because like we do this all the time. I don't know. It was just like, but I mean, it all worked out obviously, but I do remember that feeling. Yeah. And we honestly, when we went to go look at houses, Brian didn't even look at any with me. I went and looked at maybe less than 5 houses. I looked at literally probably 5, maybe not even that. There was one that I was like, oh, I really like this one. I'd already went to go see it, and then I had him go look at it with me a second time. And then that's the only house he ever saw, and then we made an offer. Yeah. So, like, it was kind of nice that I could do something similar.
When I was picking the condo, I only went and looked at 4. I knew the area I wanted to be in. I actually had shown properties in my complex for a buyer. And so I knew, okay, it's gated. I really like that area. It's close to everything. And then I went and looked at 3 or 4. I video toured them. And anybody that I wanted their opinion, I uploaded them to my YouTube because the videos were too long to send. I uploaded them to my video and made it private to where you could only see it with the link. Mm-hmm. And I sent those to friends like I wanted their opinion.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Only like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And so, Just
because you wanted someone else to kind of see it too.
4. Yeah. Well, I mean, first thing out of divorce, you're doing on your own.
Yeah.
Of course, part of you is thinking you need help. So.
Yeah.
And with like, trying to think back at our inspection report because like I would have felt so silly asking for some of the things. Like one of our faucet, like in the guest bathroom, is like slow. What is it? Pressure.
Draining.
That like Chris could fix that. We just haven't gotten around to it. But I know like I've had clients before that would like try and ask for that, and I would like just be. I would feel so weird as an agent, but like there was literally nothing to ask for.
I feel like agents are polar opposites on transactions. They're either going to nitpick and try to get everything fixed, or they're not going to care, and because they know everything can be fixed after, unless it's a big item.
I think it always depends on the client too. Like there are things that I don't necessarily care so much about when I'm buying a house if it was like an issue versus others. Yeah. And then there's some clients that they're like, I don't know how to do any of that. I don't know the first.
Yeah, but I'm saying as an agent. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even agents like helping their clients.
Agents for themselves. They're either going to be client. They're either going to be the client that's nitpicky, or they're going to be the client that knows I can figure it out
That's why
later.
I think it's a personal
definitely
preference
because like
I think some of that's money.
I don't think even if there was stuff major, like I know with this other agent too, I know we could have like come to an agreement if there were like major repairs to be done. Like we had that rapport already. I don't think it would have been awkward, but there wasn't anything major. And all the plumbing is PVC.
There you go.
Which would have been a major if it wasn't.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't
working.
Issue.
Yeah.
Cracked pipe.
Yeah, and that's what. As you come across like issues with the inspections, then it becomes a new thing that's on your radar. Yeah,
and it was fun, like on the other side of it. Like Ryan did our inspection. Like it was just kind of
It is. It's fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the selling side, though. Like, completely different. Yeah. I haven't had to sell a listing or my own listing or house since I've been licensed, but as we're, like, thinking about things, and first of all, I'm having more, like, respect for my sellers, thinking about how much stuff I have to put away and, like, how much I'd have to do to prepare my listing, which even on the buy side, I have more respect now once I bought a house because everything that the lender asked for, oh, my goodness, and then they need more documents and more. Yeah. So there's a lot. I mean, I understand the point of it and why, but I didn't realize how much was truly needed until like I had to do it myself. Yeah, for sure. And just how not annoying, but how inconvenient some of it was to have to get.
For sure.
But definitely thinking about that stuff on the listing side, like how I have to get the house ready. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's such a process. And like now I'm definitely a better listing agent now that I've sold a house because I know how like exhausting it is getting it ready, how much you have to do, just getting rid of stuff. And then listing it and showings. And whenever we listed, it was like crazy to where we just went to a hotel and just stayed because we had
which is absolutely what I recommend for a lot of my clients.
Crazy amount of showings.
Yeah.
But then, and that really, that was stressful, but this is why I will never represent myself, is because, like, once you do get under contract, it's, I don't know, I would much rather not negotiate for myself. Like,
oh, absolutely. It's so emotional.
It's emotional, and then on top of, like, having business
of yours to manage.
I think at that time, like, I had, like, 6 or 7, like, under contract or closing or whatever.
Yeah.
But, so, it's just not, I would never represent or, like, I probably would list it again and then just
have someone
do
the
what
negotiation.
we did.
Like we did.
With the negotiations. Because it's just better just to have a neutral party. Like, it is extremely emotional, and, like, you at certain times we're like, okay, like, no, we shouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't they pay for this? Like,
yeah, there were a couple times I definitely pushed back.
Yes, so, like,
for you.
and I needed that.
To you. I pushed back to you. Yeah.
Which I needed. But, like, so the first buyer that we had was just, who was an agent. Yes, he was an agent, and just totally not, just a complete...
Would you prefer to work any transaction with him ever?
Never.
Yeah, no,
ever.
No, thank you.
And then so we went back to the market, or actually we just got we had several offers, and so when he backed out, we just went to the next one. We executed right away. And then their financing fell through, and so at that point I'm like, I'm just done. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And this was right before the holidays. I probably will never do that again, but I mean, maybe we will if life leads us to that. But so then I just was like, I'm not negotiating anymore. Yeah. Or like moving. Yeah,
that's definitely how I would do it. I'm confident I can get myself ready to sell. I'm confident I can identify what needs to be prepped. All of that stuff on the front end, I'm confident I can get myself through that. And I would prefer to get into the MLS and do all that.
Definitely.
And then have someone else do negotiations and all of that for me.
Right.
I actually think we've lightly talked about this. So I haven't, obviously, moving out of the Richardson house, I didn't have to sell that. But when we lived in Carrollton, we sold that house as a for sale by owner.
Oh, interesting.
And so I basically did that.
Yeah.
We paid like I'm not gonna say like how we did it, but because
But you bought it for sale by owner.
No, we sold as for sale by owner. Okay. Like we basically were our own like listing agents.
Okay.
The market, I think that point it was like 2013 or 2014, so the market was pretty good. Uh-huh. We did an open house and had 25 people come through it on a Tuesday evening. So the market was and it was good enough that we could do it. Would I ever do a for sale by owner without an agent again? No.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of things yes, we could get the house under contract on our own, but then when like title company was communicating to us and saying like what they need, we were all like, this is confusing.
Didn't know what.
That's and so
it's crazy.
Super difficult once you're under contract.
Yeah.
And then it's just
so
I wouldn't do it again.
The buyers have an agent?
Ironically, the buyer didn't have an agent either.
Oh my god!
So there's no agent involved in that transaction.
Wow. So did they like do their inspection and negotiate repairs, or like how do you?
Okay, so funny story. That buyer knew that she wanted the house. They had just come into like some money from like an insurance thing or something. And when I say some money, I mean money. So she showed up to the open house with a literal bag of cash. And sat in the living room, and as other people walked through, she made sure that it was visible.
Oh my god!
That she had a bag of cash and was willing to pay slightly more than we were asking. It wasn't the type of market that you're going to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars over, but it was definitely a market to where a little bit over was good. So she sat with the bag of cash in the living room and made sure that she told everyone that walked through that she was getting the house, that she was paying X, Y, and Z in cash.
Ballsy.
Yeah. We were talking about when Jason and I moved from Carrollton to Richardson, we sold our Carrollton house as for sale by owner, but the buyer also didn't have an agent. So so I was saying how chaotic it was for the title company, and I'm saying like I would never do a for sale by owner again, simply because like not as an agent, like if I was an agent,
you weren't licensed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
wasn't licensed, so I felt like everyone hated us, like the title company,
Yeah.
like all of that. They're like, none of you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're
It's
trying
one
to
thing-
like,
Yeah.
it's extra work for them.
Yes.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
Because it's one thing if you are for sale by owner, but the buyers
Have an agent. The
They
agent
are-
can
There's
help.
at least one
Going to-
agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
communicate with the title company, not on the seller's behalf, but to make sure, like,
Documents are getting
it's
in.
gonna get closed
but
correctly.
she, what I was saying is we had an open house on like a Tuesday night, and we had like 20-something people come through, and she just sat with a duffel bag of cash.
Oh my
She was-
gosh.
I mean, she was
Did
serious.
she get the house?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the we had to, like, closing didn't go smoothly because she thought she could just show up with the bag of cash to the closing.
oh my,
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's like all like trackable funds or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And it was, she'd gotten it from an insurance settlement, so they could track, but it's like all that
You
had
need
to
to
go
put that into the
back
bank.
into the bank, and it had to be
Yeah.
there for a certain amount of
Oh my
time.
gosh.
Well,
Yeah.
I wonder if somewhere they probably had to report that, I think, to the IRS somehow. I don't know how that works.
I don't know, but we joke, like, she bought her house, and like that neighborhood doesn't really have like any painted exteriors. She painted the exterior white, and they ended up selling like about a year or two later, and we saw pictures of the inside. I was so shocked because I had
Did it
made it
look good?
really pretty, and she turned it into what looked like the inside of Darth Vader's space station or
Oh my
something. It was
God.
so bad. So bad. So,
that's funny. I never knew that.
yeah.
So I don't know if you guys said this because I had to make a quick exit with poor little girl. She fell back. But one of the things with like prepping your house, I feel like because we're agents, it's almost harder for us to prep it because there's no one like counting on us to do it within a certain timeline. You know what I mean? I feel like that's even half of the problem with being an agent. Is there's no one else like.
I said the opposite. I said I was confident I could prep it, get it ready, and
Oh,
then get
see.
it into the MLS.
I'm pretty sure I would procrastinate because I'm the only one that's depending on.
Not if you're wanting to buy another house.
Yeah.
You know you
That's
gotta
true.
move.
Yeah.
That is true.
And we
Depending
were-
on what's motivating
Yes.
me, definitely will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we were motivated because we were under contract on our buy, like, and we didn't want to.
Well, and that's why I think I'm almost trying to find a house first before I get serious about selling them.
Yeah, well, and at that point, we were wanting to buy first because there was no housing. Like, that was back when you
Yeah.
like,
But your
literally.
house may sit for a little while.
Yeah. Well, I think right now, no, and I agree. That's why I'm not making an offer on anything yet. But that's why I kind of went to go look at those houses is almost just to get myself excited because it's like
Yeah.
I'm just not like I'm
yeah.
excited and I want to, but I'm not excited enough to make something happen. And it's not like I sat down, met with a realtor, and now I'm like, okay, this is happening. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm not going to do that because you know, like
Yeah.
And
And-
Brian's not the type of guy to like make that decision either. Like he's like, this is your thing. Like you
Yeah.
do it. You let me know.
Yeah. And we were like, or I was like trying to like get us on the market as soon as possible because when we had painters and like we were going around that, but then I wanted to list the weekend before Thanksgiving versus after.
Right.
Maybe it was a couple weeks before. I don't know. It was a period of time where I was like, we gotta
Yeah.
get on the market ASAP.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we still closed like from list date to closing. It was with two buyers that fell through. Third buyer who was also an agent, buyer's agent or representing himself. I think we closed in about 45 days
Yeah.
from list date.
Yeah.
And
Not
the
bad.
third buyer was like a 2-week close.
Yeah.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
With
Have
three
y'all
different
talked
buyers.
about how with your transaction you ended up hiring Jake to like represent you?
Or
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
he negotiated.
So what
it.
made you do that again?
I was just fed up with,
She
The
had
negotiation part
about
of it?
6 or 7 or 8 under contract that she was managing,
Oh, okay.
plus 2 on hers. 2 had fallen through.
So she was working a full-time job.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the third one came through, and it just mentally, I'm sure
And
it's like it's drained.
We were in the middle of buying our new house too, which was a super smooth transaction, but it was just a lot of emotional or just changes going on. Like
Yeah.
we're selling our house, we're buying a new one.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So
Yeah.
it is a lot. Now I just feel like, I'm definitely a better listing agent because I understand the emotional part and like it's so hard not to not be emotional, but it just helps you, I don't know, makes you have a different set of eyes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you have a more awareness of what your clients are
Right.
going through on
Yes.
the emotional
It's called
and
empathy.
Yes.
yeah, empathy. Yes, that's so true. And then on top of it, we're realizing yeah, like just having that, how important, I'm really just realizing how valuable our jobs are,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
having that second person for whether it's motivation or emotional support
Yeah.
or
Right.
knowing what the heck they're doing
Yeah.
or anything,
For
like
sure.
you have to have that person.
Yeah.
And like for us, even though we know what we're doing, you know, we
Yeah.
have to, we even constantly right now still bounce ideas and or situations off of each other, because we're like, hey, like, here's what I would do. Would you guys do the same thing? Or,
Yeah.
you know, we need to
Right.
be able to kind of go, you know,
Yeah. I
bounce that off each
still
other.
will never understand how people go FISBO, but I mean, people do it.
I think in certain markets,
Yeah.
maybe.
It depends,
But
yeah.
I also think it really depends on how organized you are.
Yeah.
Jason is like a documents person,
Yeah.
so when we realized what the title company was asking for, he could do it.
Yeah.
But the average person, I mean, he also was like pre-law in
Yeah,
school, so I'm
and
like,
that-
you know, he
yeah.
understands contracts,
Right.
and it was like we had a good mix. Like it was really the perfect storm
when
for
you
our
were in
strengths.
design at that point,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
you kind of
So
were in the world already.
That's what I was just about to say. I was working with builders and in design, so I made sure our house showed better than any house in like a multiple mile
Yeah.
radius. It had been like beautifully remodeled, and then he understood contracts,
Mm-hmm.
documents, all of that kind of stuff. So we
So it
were
was the
fortunate.
second best thing
Yeah.
to having an
Yes,
agent.
absolutely. You
Yeah.
had the two of us,
Yeah.
and we're both intelligent.
Yeah. Love it.
Love it. But yeah, if we definitely sell and do all that, I've even thought about like maybe hiring both of y'all at the same
Yeah.
time,
I've thought
Brandie
it.
and everybody.
Yeah.
She'll do it.
Definitely.
Okay, and even our broker, even talking to James, I forgot what the it was
he
because my
doesn't like-
most recent transaction where the buyer was also the buyer's
The
agent.
agent.
He was like, if you ever buy or sell a house, this is why I tell people, do not ever represent yourself, because you not only do some shady stuff, but we're held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And we have a license.
Yeah.
So we can't, we can only do so much or say so much for our clients. If our clients are not willing to sign something, we can't literally force them. I mean, they could get sued, all the different
Right.
things. There's all these legal parts. But us being a realtor, if we decide not to sign something and we're holding up a transaction and we're now doing that kind of crap,
Right.
we're held to a higher standard where our license could be at stake.
True.
So it is really hard when you represent yourself in that aspect
Yeah.
too, from a broker's eyes.
Yep.
For sure.
Totally
All
agree.
right. Well, that is this week's episode, guys. Hopefully you guys, whether you are, I feel like this was good, whether you are an agent thinking about selling your house, because let's be real, there are a lot of agents or people that get their real estate license because they want to
Sell
represent
their own
themselves.
house. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
that's, I would
crazy to me.
say almost like 20% or more
Yeah.
of the people I talked to, like the reason they got their real estate license is because they were going to sell their own house, thinking, oh, I'm going to save the commission or whatever.
That's so crazy to
They
me.
think I'll sell my own house, and then like a couple of family members will probably let me do it for them, and it'll be a great job.
Right. And honestly, as you learn, like family sometimes and super close friends are
Yeah.
some of the hardest and most
Absolutely.
difficult people to work with.
And they're
So-
the ones that are not likely to hire you in the beginning because they love you and they're used to you doing something else. They want to see.
They know you're
They want to
new,
make
they-
sure that you're successful in it before they hire you.
Right. Well, exactly. They almost don't trust that you could do
Right.
a good service for them because they know
Yeah.
you on a personal
Yeah.
level too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.